Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn how to create a simple chair in Maya 2020. Okay, so we're going to start with a basic shape, which is a cube. So I can go ahead and create a cube right from here. And I'm going to change the width and depth here. So let's say I'll give a width of 5 and a depth of 5. So that becomes something like that. And now we can add some divisions here. So let's say add 5 divisions over this way and 2 divisions here and depth of 3. Okay, this should be the front side. So I'm going to make these vertices go down a bit. Okay, to create that nice shape. I'm going to scale them closer. Okay, and this side we need to make it a bit more smaller, so select all these. Now when you're selecting like this, you need to make sure that you're not selecting accidentally, you're not selecting anything that is not required. So let's do that. And if you want to play safe, you can actually go to the top view and you can also turn on the wireframe mode so that we can select exactly what we wanted. Okay, so once that is done, I can actually pull these guys a bit closer. Okay, now if I go back to the perspective view and if I press 3 after selecting the object, that gives us a smooth result. Okay, now we can make further tweaks by actually selecting these faces in the middle. Okay, and I can actually push them down like so. Okay, and I can also do the same thing for these guys. So let's say 1 2 3 4. Okay, and I can also select these faces from the side just to give a little bit of detail there. So I'll select these guys and these guys and choose the scale tool to pull them out. Okay, now you can do the same thing for these guys. So 1 2 3, just push them outside. There you go. Press 3 to finalize and see how that looks. Okay, so now this chair is actually going to have 2 portions. So one up this area is going to be a cushion area, and down below that we'll have some kind of plastic area. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate this to create that plastic area. I'm going to press Ctrl D to duplicate. Okay, and the duplicated one I can actually push it slightly down, and I'll make it a bit bigger. Okay, now if I press 4, I can actually see that these are 2 different objects. And just to create a little bit more detail, what I can do is I can actually select these faces in the top. So I'll go ahead and select these faces. Okay, now to select these faces more easily, we can also use the paint selection tool. So if I click on this guy, I can actually paint the selection here. Okay, now when you paint selection, you need to make sure that it is not accidentally selecting anything that is not required. So if it does, you can press Ctrl and click on it to remove that. Okay, so press 5 again. I'll go to R to get the scale tool. So if I just make that smaller, that's the result we get. So now I'm going to press 3 just to smooth that out and see how the final result looks. Okay, so that is looking nice. That's okay. So it looks like it's 2 layers. Now you can also create the same shape with one object by extruding it, but then it becomes a little difficult for texturing. So if you have 2 objects, then it's easier for us to texture. We just simply need to apply 2 different textures, one with a soft texture and the other one is going to be a hard one for the plastic. Okay, so so that's it for the seat area. Now we can create a similar one for the back side. So if you want, you can also duplicate this, or I'm going to create this again. So go up here, pull it backwards. Let's go to the channel box, add some width. Okay, and some height. Let's say 3 or 4 should be fine. I think does not have to be that big. 3 should be fine. I'll add some divisions here, so let's keep the same as this bottom one. Height divisions we can have, okay, fine. So now I need to tweak it. I'm going to the front view here. There we go. I can actually select this bottom area to be smaller. Okay, like so, and the top also like so. If needed, we can also add more divisions. I'll go to the vertices. We can pull these vertices up. If I go ahead and press 3 to smooth it out, and that's the result that we get. Okay, so I'm going to add one division exactly here. So go to select, shift right click and choose edge, insert edge loop tool. We can go to options. Okay, so in the options, if we choose multiple edge loops and then just choose one, so this will help us to get exactly in the center. So just click on that, and now we can actually tweak this more. Let's go to edge and scale it like so, and a little bit like so. Press 3. Okay, so now we need to make more changes here, so let's go ahead and select these guys. So let's say select one face, double click on the next face, it selects all of them, so just push it backwards like so. Double click here, shift double click here, so that selects all of them, and push that also backwards. So now if I press 3, you can see that we have that nice little arc there. Now if you don't want these bottom ones to have that much of indentation, you can also just select these guys and push them a little bit inside. Okay, now to finalize, we'll just press 3. That looks good. I can again make the duplicate like what we did down here, so press Ctrl D. I think the duplicate didn't happen, so I'll duplicate once again, Ctrl D, make it bigger. Okay, now yeah, we do have 2 objects. Okay, so I'll do the same step once again. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so in case if you're wondering how I'm getting these tools is we press W for move tool, E for rotate, and R for scale. So you don't have to go every time up here to click on those tools. You can also do them by pressing these shortcut keys. Okay, so let's go ahead and smooth that out. Press 3. Select this guy, press 3, and that's the result we get. Okay, so once we're done, we need to connect both of them. So let's go ahead and choose another cube, pull it up, keep it somewhere there. I'm going to make this smaller. Let's add a couple of divisions here. So let's say 2 that way, 2 this way, maybe 1 more for the height. So let's just choose like so. Okay, so I'm going to make the whole thing a bit bigger, and I'm going to select these vertices. Okay, and I'm actually going to scale them in z-axis and x-axis, so that means I need to just click here and make it smaller like so. So let's select these faces, okay, to make them smaller. There we go. And if I press 3, you should get something like that. That is perfect. Okay, now if needed, you can actually make it bigger or smaller, maybe squeeze it like so. That's totally up to you. Maybe bring it down, just keep it there. Okay, and one thing that we need to do is we need to actually make a duplicate of that to put it here. So I'll press Ctrl D. Okay, then pull this like so, rotate it 90 degrees, pull it up. We can check from the side view, which gives us more accurate result. Okay, now we need to make a bridge between these two guys. So before we bridge, we need to actually combine them into one object. So I'll just select this guy first, shift select this one, then I will have to shift right click and choose combine. We can also do the same thing by going to the menus. So this is more easier, so I'm doing it like this. Okay, so now these are actually one object. I just want to do one little change here just to make sure that we get the bridge connection properly. So I'm just selecting these two guys. Actually there's two vertices, okay, making them straight, and the same way here also, these two guys to make them straight. And I'm just going to push this like so, just to give some room to create that bridge connection. So now once that is done, I'm just going to select face, select this face, shift select this face, and then shift right click, and there should be an option called bridge faces. Okay, just click on that. So what it does is it just adds this connection between those two faces. Now what we need is we actually need this to have more divisions, so I'll just choose here, instead of division 0, I'm going to add something like 5, maybe 6. Okay, and we also need to decide what curve type we want to have. We don't want linear, we want it to be a blend. Okay, so as you can see, it creates a very nice bridge between those two faces. So once we're satisfied, we can actually select it. Okay, so that's almost it. Next thing that we need to create is the handle. Okay, so for creating the handle, we can just select a cube. Okay, and I'm just gonna add, make it a bit, make it smaller, maybe 0.5. Okay, and height also 0.5, but the depth has to be something like, let's say 4.5 or 4, not 45, 4.5. Okay, so I think that's fine. Let me just pull this up here. Maybe just 4 is enough, it's too long. Okay, it needs to be a bit more thinner also, but I need to add more divisions this way. So let's say 6 should be fine, I guess. Let's make the height a bit more or less. Maybe 0.25 should be good. Okay, now we need to bend this shape. Okay, we can do it in many different ways. So let's say we can just select these vertices and just push them up, push them up, push them up. So this way we can just bend the shape. This is one method. Or we can also use something called a bend deformer. Okay, so to use a bend deformer, you need to have some divisions here. That is number 1. Number 2, you can actually go to rigging here and choose deform. There you should find non-linear deform. Okay, the first one is the bend. So if I click on the bend, it will actually give us a handle like this. Okay, and we can actually give in curvature. So let's say we'll give 90 just to see how it bends. Okay, I'm going to give 90, so you can see that it actually shows you which direction it's bending. So if I just adjust this curvature, I can see what's actually happening here. Okay, so we want the bend to happen downwards. So what I'll do is I'll actually rotate this like so to get a preview. Okay, so we need it exactly minus 90, and we also want it to rotate downwards. Okay, so let's say we'll give minus 90 here also. Okay, so now we can actually decide how much bend we want to have. So you want a little bit or you want more. You can also make it look like a flying bird. Okay, so we want just a little bit like so. Okay, so once you're happy with the result that you want, we can just go ahead and go to edit, delete by type, history, so that'll basically get rid of the handle that we had. Okay, so now this shape is being stuck in this shape. We cannot further tweak it now. So once we got that, we can just push this towards the place that we want. Okay, and I actually want to have some kind of a bridge here between these two guys to get a shape. So what I'll do is I'll select this one, shift select this one, shift right click and choose bridge. Okay, so bridge faces, so that gets like so. We can just change this to blend, and we can actually add more divisions here. So let's say 5, 6, maybe 8. Okay, that's nice. And we can also decide a few other things like twist and taper. So let me just give it a try with taper. Okay, that looks nice. Okay, because we want to have a shape like so. And then what we want is we want to do more extrude. So I'll keep it as it is, and then I will go to face. Okay, so I'm going to select 1, 2, 3 faces. Okay, so we'll do an extrude. And this time I'm actually not using the manipulator tool. Instead, I'm just using the regular move tool by pressing the W key. The reason is because I want it to be straight down. I don't want it to project through the vector that we have there. Okay, so I can actually do a little scale here just to make it flat. Okay, and then I'm going to do one more extrude here. So let's just push this down here. Okay, looking good. And if you want, you can actually rotate this and then extrude, or we can also extrude it directly from here. So let's say extrude face, bring it down, and then we'll do another extrude that goes from here to there. So let's extrude that and get it connected there. Okay, so now if I just go ahead and select these guys and just push it outwards like so, I think I can actually push all these guys like so. There you go. Now we can make fine tunes by actually pushing these guys, center ones, a little outside to create some nice smooth result here. There you go. We can press 3 to smooth out and see how that looks. Okay, much better. This area doesn't look that nice, so what I'll do is I'll make some more tweaks here. Push this out, push this up and in, push it like so, like so. We can actually add more details here, so let's say I'll go ahead and choose select, insert edge loop tool, then add something in the middle. Okay, something like that. Okay, then add more details here. So let's say I'll add one more here. So let's say select, shift right click, insert edge loop tool, click on that, and just want to use the last use tool to add one here. Okay, so once we're happy with the result, we can actually just go ahead and make a duplicate of this guy to make it to the other side. So to make the duplicate, before we make the duplicate, we need to make sure that this pivot point is exactly in the center. So let's just go up here. Okay, press insert key to get the pivot point changed, and I will hold the X key to get the grid snap. Now instead of holding the X key, you can also press this button here. Okay, so that will also give you grid snap. I'm pressing the X key, and then I'm just going to drag it to the center here. Once we place it there, we can press insert key once again to remove the insert mode. Okay, so then we can actually make the mirror. Okay, so to make the mirror, we can also go ahead and go to edit, duplicate special options, and I want to get it mirrored to the x-axis here. So I'll go to edit, duplicate special options, and now we need to give x-axis as -1 for the scale and everything else as it is. Click duplicate special so we get the other side. Okay, so let's go ahead and select that, press 3 to smooth, press 3 to smooth. So that's the result we have. Now if you want to make any changes here, you can still do it. If you don't like this design, you can actually modify the design to make it look different. Now next thing that we need to do is we need to make the leg. I'm going to use a cylinder for that. Okay, so make it smaller, pull it up, so make sure that it's touching the top, and we can actually remove this cap divisions. That makes it easier for us to do the extrudes here. So let's say extrude, shift right click and choose extrude face, pull it down, and we can actually get the basic shape from here, so then we can create more further tweaks. So I'll just make it like so, extrude one more time, pull it down, extrude, pull it down, and make it smaller, pull it up, and we can actually add more details based on the requirements. So let's say we'll just keep it like so, and then we can just add further edge loops. Okay, make it bigger, insert edge loop here, more edge loops. If required, we can also extrude these guys. So let's say select these faces here, extrude face, and I can pull it out like so. Press 3 to finalize so that we get something like that. I'm also going to press 3 here to make that look soft, smooth. Okay, so last thing is the 5 different feet that we need to make. So for that I'm going to start with a cube. Okay, make it smaller, pull it up. I can use either the front view or the side view. Okay, press 3 or press 4 here, C. Okay, so it's going to start from here, so we'll get it like so. I'll make it a bit bigger. Okay, and then we're going to start by extruding here. So let's select this guy, extrude, then pull it out. Okay, you can actually measure somewhere here, make it a bit smaller, keep it like so, and one more extrude. This time it's going to be rotated. Okay, let's just push this down like so. Okay, so now based on the requirement we can actually add more details here. So let's say I'll go to the insert edge loop tool. Let's just reset the tool. Okay, so let's just double click that and just do a little bit like so, and I want to add more edge loops here. So let's say one here, push it slightly up, one here, push it slightly up. Okay, so we can actually press 3 to see how that looks. That's fine. Now we can also add one edge loop right here in the middle, just to make the shape a bit more better. I'll go ahead and press 3 here. Yes. Okay, it looks a little bit squarish, and that's fine. Okay, so last thing is the wheel. So I'm going to just choose a cylinder, rotate it 90 degrees, make the cap divisions to be 0, make it smaller. Okay, so bring it to the size that we want. So I think that's perfectly fine, and we can actually make 2 copies of this. So let's say one here. I'll make the second one down here. So let's go ahead and choose vertices, select all these vertices, move them out. Okay, so select all these faces, extrude, pull it out, make it smaller, select this face, and shift right click extrude. There you go, make it like so, extrude, make it like so, push it inside, and there we go. So now I need to make one more copy of this. So Control D. This time I'll actually rotate it like so. I want to rotate it exactly minus 90 degrees. Okay, so that gets it there. So now what we need is we need to make a little extrude from here to get to the middle. So let's go ahead and select these two guys. Extrude, make it smaller, scale it like so. Extrude once again, this time it will just go right to the middle. Okay, doesn't matter even if it is not connected a bit, you can ignore that. Okay, so once that is done, we can actually group all these three guys together. Okay, so select all the three, press Ctrl G to group it into one object. And now the best part of grouping is when you group it, it automatically brings the pivot point to the center, which is a good thing. Okay, so now we need to make duplicate. So let's go to edit and duplicate special options. I'm going to choose reset everything. Now if you choose instance, there's an advantage, that is, like, if you make change to one object, it will change on all the others. Okay, so if you want to make any tweaks in the future, just tweak it in one object, it will make the change in all the others. So let's keep it like that. Now we need to have 4 more copies. Okay, and we want the rotation Y to be 72. So that's basically 360 divided by 5. So 72, and hit duplicate special, and we get exactly 4 extra pieces. Okay, so let's go ahead and select all of them, press 3 to make sure that they are smooth. So this completes the tutorial in creating a simple chair in Maya 2020.